Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Call of the Wild. This morning, I'm going to be talking about bow hunting and just giving some tips for people that are just starting out, what you need to pay attention to be successful in archery hunting. So, the first thing is going to be which bow are you using. There's two bows with the base game. There's the CB60, which there's two versions of. I'm going to be using the Razorback for this video, and then there's the CB70, which is a 70-pound bow that you will get later in the game, and it's a more powerful, slightly flatter shooting bow, but there's not a ton of difference in between them in truth. This one's just a little bit more powerful, but the truth is the 60-pound bow has enough power to do anything you need it to do. So, second thing you're going to need is decide which sight you're going to go with. Now, if you're just starting out, you're just going to have this single pin sight. And if you don't have a zeroing perk, then by default, it's going to be zeroed at 40 meters. So essentially, you can aim dead on at 40 meters, and that's where it's going to hit. You'll have to aim a little bit low at 20. And then if you want to take it out to 60, you're going to have to aim a bit high. And those longer shots are going to be more difficult with it. Now, once you have the zeroing perk, you can just zero for 20 and hold that on. And change that zero back to 40. And you can even zero for 60. And that's going to make things a lot easier. Now, if you're using the 3-pin sight, there's two ways you can do it. One is with the default zero. So if you have the default zero, about halfway between the top pin and the middle pin is going to be your 20-meter mark. Or really, it's more of a 15 with this bow. And it'll be a 20 with the 70-pound bow. Then your middle pin, that's your zero. That's going to be about 40. Halfway between the middle and the bottom is going to be 60. And that bottom pin is going to be about 80 meters. Now, the short range zero is kind of pointless with the bows, and the reason for that, now all I've done is made my middle pin a 20-meter shot, and then now my bottom, I think, should be 40. Or no, it'll be 60, excuse me. Yeah. And I've just gotten rid of... I've essentially made it a 2-pin sight, which in a way it already was. But being able to bracket between the first and the second pin kind of gives me a little bit more extended range. Now, with the long zero and the 3-pin sight, that top pin is now 20. I can use the middle pin for 60, and that bottom pin will take you all the way out to 100 meters. I got a little shaky there. That's a better shot. So yeah, you can shoot all the way out to 100 meters with the 3-pin sight if you have both of your zeroing perks, which there's not really a purpose to only having the short range zero. If you have the zero perk, you should have both of them. Now with the 5-pin sight, the top, the middle, and the bottom are the same as with the 3-pin sight. So on the short range zero, what you essentially have is a 0, a 20, a 40, a 60, and an 80-yard pin. Now, if I change that to the long range zero, now that top pin, now that's going to be 20 meters. The second pin will be 40. I missed a little bit there. Gotta catch my breath, but that middle pin is 60. Now this is a 70-meter target, but as you can probably guess, the fourth pin is a 60-meter pin. The bottom one is, or excuse me, the fourth pin is an 80-meter pin. So if I just bracket between the 60 and the 80, then it will land where it's supposed to at 70. And then once again, that bottom pin, 100 meters. So there's not the 5-pin sight does not extend your range at all, but it does make you more accurate with those shots that are in between distances. The shots that you didn't have a pin for and that you were having to really just do some guesswork. With the 3-pin sight, you're now able to just have a mark to actually aim with the 5-pin sight. The disadvantage of the 5-pin sight is that it is less visible. Again, if I hold these pins against the trees here, they do get hard to see because they're dark. The 3-pin sight, it has the colored pins, which makes it a lot easier to see. Yeah, I had no breath. I wasn't making that shot. But that's going to be pretty much what you need to worry about. Now, what arrow you have will change your trajectory. So I've been shooting the 420 grain broadhead because that is going to be the arrow that you use for most of your hunting. Unless you are hunting small game or you are hunting class 8 or 9 animals. And you can also use the 600 grain arrows for class 7. Generally, I just shoot the 420s because I'm used to their trajectory. I can memorize it more easily. But if I take the 600 grain arrow and I put it in this bow, I'm still zeroed for 60. So it's still going to be dead on at 60 meters pretty much. But at 100 meters, it's going to hit low. So that pin really and truly is going to be more of a 90-yard pin, I would think. And then the top pin should still be pretty close. Yeah, it's sitting a little bit high at 20 actually. So yeah, there's just a lot more of an arc with these 600 grain arrows. And then if I take the small game arrows, again, at the center, they're actually hitting high. Or no, they're not, excuse me. So they're still hitting where they're supposed to, in the middle pin. But now they're gonna hit high, or actually, so they're not, actually they are shooting a flatter trajectory, but they're not arcing as high coming out of the bow. So actually what you end up with is again a 0, a 20, and then I guess it goes to 60. And then at 100 meters, hits a little bit low. So I guess that's more of a 90-yard pin. Probably somewhere about. So again, it gets tough with these arrows. And then if you go back to the mid-range 0, you got 40 meters, you got 20 meters, and you got 60 meters. So that's probably the best thing to do with the small game arrows, is to just use the mid-range 0 and the middle 3 pins. Again, you're shooting at small targets if you're using the 300 grain arrows, so probably best to keep your shots fairly close. So one of the first techniques that I'll use, and it's probably one of the best ones for thick brush, like what you'll find on Mississippi Acres or Hirschfelden, and that is to still hunt. And still hunting isn't you're not really staying still, but you're moving very slowly. So never really breaking a walking pace, and then probably fast crouch most of the time. And just move about 50, 75 meters at a time. Stop, call, listen, all that, and then move another 50, 75 after you've done that for a few minutes. And just keep an eye out, and just the idea is to see the animal before it sees you, which can be tough in these environments, but it's far from impossible. But if I wasn't still hunting and I didn't hear them first, then I definitely would have just ran through and spooked them. So I'll see if I can call one in closer. There's a doe, there's a doe. Okay, there's a decent little buck. And he's sitting at about 40 meters. And that should be a good shot. He's gonna go down right in the edge of the, not even in the edge of the field. He didn't even make it that far. Stopping and listening every 15 meters or so, that gives them extra time to make some sort of vocalization for you to see them or hear them first. And that's gonna, it slows you down. You'll see less animals, but you'll get a good shot opportunity at more of them, and that's more important when you're bow hunting. And I almost ended up shooting between the lungs there. Got a little bit lucky. Of course, you want to stay lower in the chest, because the higher you go with these frontal shots, the more neck tissue you have to go through. So I always want to keep it down in sort of the bottom half of the chest. Even if you miss the heart, you still get more consistent penetration into the lungs. It was spot and stock, so get to an open area, a lake, a big field, a high spot, and usually you'll have something within your field of view, and that'll allow you to plan an approach more meticulously. So in this case, it'd be easier for me to go to the left, because that's going to put me downwind of them, and there's also better cover approaching from the left than there is approaching from any other directions because of the lake. And you always, anytime you're going through brush, reduce your movement speed by 1, and then you're not making all that extra noise. Because me moving out in the open and just the grass at fast crouch makes the same amount of noise as moving through brush on the slower crouch speed. Alright, so I got in here to about 50 meters. So I'm going to throw in the 600 grain arrow. Hold just a touch high. And that should be a good shot. And she's going down pretty quick. This bear didn't really... Oh, he's moving now. Might be able to get a shot though. Yeah, we hit that bear too. Actually shot over the cow elk to hit the bear. That's something you can do because of how extreme the arc of the arrows is. I wouldn't really recommend it very much. Because it can be risky, but it worked right there. Oh, that was a miss. Wind pushed it off to the right just a little bit. There we go. Alright, here's our cow elk. And we got her in the lung, liver, stomach. Somehow phased through the lung on the other side. That really should have dropped her. And we also got the bear pretty good. Yep, liver, stomach, pretty much got everything except for the heart and the lungs. And it was still a pretty quick kill. And that's the advantage of the 600 grain arrows. Even though they drop more, they will blow through absolutely everything. Another option is stand hunting. So I'll just have this black-tailed deer walk right underneath me. And we're going to put one into the back of the lungs on her. And she's going to crumble before she even makes it to the top of the hill. Taking a look at her, actually didn't get great penetration on her, just enough to get the liver, which is considered a vital organ. Again, those really steep angle shots are tough. For your shot placement, and this goes for most animals, but specifically talking about the deer that's in front of us right here. Usually what you want to do is just aim for about just a quarter of the way down from the top of this crease right here. If they're broadside, just spook something. If they're quartering towards you, you want to aim sort of right in this little indentation right here where the neck meets the body. There's sort of a line right there if you can see it. But you want to put your shot right in there to get those lungs. Like I said earlier, lower half of the chest, kind of below this point right here. If you go through the neck and you don't hit the neck bone, then you're just losing penetration. If you hit like up here or here, you're going to miss the neck, and you're also going to not get enough penetration to get to the lung. And that goes for a rifle as well. Really just want to keep it pretty centered down on the bottom of the chest, and then these quartering away shots. You want to aim pretty much, you want to get the front leg on the other side in line with your shot. So if this deer is right here, I basically want to aim right here. You can see what it did with that shot, and it was lined up properly. I just didn't get the penetration for it. But if you aim right at the front of the opposite side leg, then you will pretty much always go through the center path of the lungs. On a quartering away shot, that is. Alright, well that's been a little crash course on archery hunting in the Hunter Call of the Wild. I hope it helped you. Have a good one.